Hi everybody. I was taking a look at the way I was dressed today, and you're all wearing all of your winter clothing. I come from Sarnia, Lambton, southwestern Ontario, where the temperature is very, very warm. I don't have any stockings on. I'm freezing your town. Okay, thanks for having me today. I'm excited to share with you some examples of the Sarnia-Lambton Local Immigration Partnership structure and governance, how we developed our strategic plan, and went from planning to implementation, how partnership and community collaboration is at the very heart of the work of the LIP and yet isn't without its challenges. And finally, what impact LIP has had in our community. Okay, is that better? Everybody can hear me? Sorry. Okay, I have included this slide. Oh, I have to switch it. I've included this slide to give you a sense of what the immigrant population distribution is in our community. Lambton County is a largely rural municipality that consists of 11 municipalities with 3 First Nation communities. The overall population of Sarnia-Lambton is Lambton County is 126,000, with the largest urban area, the city of Sarnia, thank you, sitting at about 72,000. Oh my God, there's water everywhere, thank you. Sarnia, of course, has the highest number of immigrants residing within its borders, and the remainder is spread throughout the county. A relatively low number of immigrants arrived in Sarnia and Lambton between 2012 and 2014. At 47%, international students attending our local college represent the largest population of immigrants in the community. The Sarnia-Lambton LIP is hosted by the County of Lambton with the purpose of supporting the development of community-based partnerships and planning around the needs of newcomers. To support this initiative, a multi-sector council of local organizations that have an interest in providing and enhancing services and supports for immigrants and newcomers was created to inspire a more welcoming and diverse community. In its first phase, the Sarnia-Lambton LIP Council and staff carried out research using focus groups, surveys, individual interviews, and community consultations to determine the community's current capacity to assist and support immigrants and newcomers, identify the challenges and barriers you're experiencing, and brainstorm solutions to these challenges. The resulting settlement strategy is a coordinated and comprehensive plan comprised of 12 interrelated strategies organized by 5 priority areas of focus. LIP staff and council then developed a work plan to direct implementation efforts that include many activities and action items that are reviewed each year by community service providers, and stakeholders to ensure relevance. So, how did the Sarnia-Lambton LIP go from strategic planning to implementation? Working groups was one. Unlike larger centers like Toronto and Ottawa, our community sits at the beginning of the diversity continuum. Until the LIP came along in any formal multi-stakeholder efforts to support the integration of newcomers and immigrants would have been considered grassroots. Outside of the 2 settlement service agencies, LIP council members and other stakeholders are volunteers that belong to host organizations that see the value of the work of the LIP. Due to the low numbers of relevant community partners in the county, our ad hoc working groups had to be project-based as opposed to area-focus-based. Area-focused working groups require ongoing commitment of members in each area and is likely to be more successful in cities that have adequate or large stakeholder capacity. The benefit of using the project-based working group is those interested in participating in developing project development, community engagement activities, and events planning would not be overtaxed and able to choose the most relevant activities to their organization. The following examples will illustrate the different types of working groups that we have used in implementing the strategy. This might be hard for you to read at the back, so I'll try to share as much as I can here. The mentorship program was created to increase employment outcomes for newcomers and immigrants. It was developed by an ad hoc working group. This group was facilitated by LIP and consisted of community organizations that met monthly over the period of 1 year to develop the program. A project model was identified and adapted to meet the needs of our community. A lead organization was engaged, and funding was secured to support the hire of a project coordinator. LIP staff continue to support the coordinator by sitting on a steering committee that meets twice per year. Another example The Community Interpreter Access Program, or CIAP, we like to use acronyms, was created to address the need for local professional interpreters to better serve newcomers and immigrants. The group secured a grant from our local United Way to support the costs attached to services through Across Languages in London, Ontario, just north of us, for professional interpretation services. They've organized a series of presentations to help service providers navigate the system, confirm client eligibility, and to promote the program itself. A slightly different approach was taken in the development of this program. The implementation of a youth engagement strategy, a working group was struck and determined that more research was needed into the needs of local youth. It relied more on community partnerships than efforts of a working group specifically. The partnerships that were formed to support this initiative were key here. LIP worked closely with Lambton Public Health to conduct that research by focus group work, resulting in 5 recommendations to be implemented in the community. The project leader, it's very important, this piece here. The County of Lambton Social Planning Department secured funds to hire a project leader, so we were able to implement the program. The project leader modeled the program after the LIP, beginning with a steering committee to oversee the work to be done, and a work plan was created with activities assigned to each recommendation. Partnerships continue to move the strategy forward. These 2 activities were created to support a strategy to increase the community's knowledge of local diversity in order to create a more welcoming community. For those of you at the back, I know you can't see the slide, but there's just 2 examples of community events that were hosted. I'll go into a little more detail in a second. They are good examples of how LIP is able to bring cultures together to encourage cross-cultural learning. Implementation differs slightly from previous slides in that LIP staff sat on external groups or committees to implement the strategy, and it was not implemented from LIP-led working groups. This is the most fun I've had in this job. So the Sarnia Lambton LIP was created in November of 2009. CSE provided very little guidance initially, so it was very frustrating for a lot of us, especially the new LIPs way back when. So the Hamilton LIP coordinator and I had started talking over the phone to support one another and realized quickly that other LIPs must be feeling the same way we were. So in the next few short years, the LIP grew to over 14 members. 14 different LIPs that are spread out through Southwest Ontario. The group serves to support the exchange of best practice, open opportunities to collaborate regionally, and confirm ongoing relevance of the work of the LIP moving forward. So what is as important as the work we do in the community is what impact events like this are having locally. Some examples from a previous slide, and this is where you get to talk about those 2 events, or I get to talk about those 2 events I mentioned. 92% of respondents, those surveyed, agreed that the Multicultural Elementary Games events supported the development of fundamental movement skills, was inclusive of all students regardless of skill level, and gave students a better understanding of diversity in sport. Significant. The TD Multicultural Village Art Walk is an annual 2-day arts and cultural festival in downtown Sarnia. It hosts hundreds of vendors, entertainers, food vendors, craftspeople, artists. Tens of thousands of people visit the festival each year, which has a huge impact in our community. So surveys were distributed at this event, specifically to the village, and respondents were asked how their visit to the village impacted their knowledge of Sarnia Lambton's cultural diversity. 76% of respondents stated their knowledge had increased. Similarly, 62% of respondents stated their knowledge of local cultural groups had increased. Again, very significant. Respondents were asked if they had learned anything new on their visit to the Multicultural Village. Similar to 2014, an overwhelmingly high percentage of 92% agreed that they had. However, the largest impact was an increase in funding for the village of more than twice that of last year's contribution, due to the impact report included in last year's post-event assessment. Copies of these can be found on our website. I brought a copy for you to look at if you'd like. And that is it for me.